To all my insomniacs and night owls out there, if you're up this late, then you're in the right place. This is Static After Dark. Now grab your snack, grab your drink, and let's get into the story.
Hey, Static. I've been debating whether to send this story in because even now, I don't know if I believe it myself. For years, I've thought there was something wrong with me. Not mentally unstable or anything, just seeing things. Always the same thing: a silhouette, tall, too tall, thin enough that it looked wrong. It never had details. No eyes, no face, nothing I could focus on. Just a massive head and these impossibly long arms. I only ever saw it for a second at a time, standing in a doorway, peeking around a corner, watching me from the end of a hallway. The second I turned to look directly at it, it'd be gone. My husband, Eric, was patient about it. I don't know how he managed it. Every time I'd wake him up at 3 in the morning because I swore I'd seen someone standing in our bedroom doorway, he'd get out of bed and search the entire house, every room, every closet, nothing. Eventually, he convinced me to see a therapist. The therapist thought anxiety was causing visual misinterpretations. That sounded reasonable, and I wanted it to be true. But the sightings kept happening. Months passed, then years. Always the same figure, always watching, never approaching. At least, not at first. One night, I saw it standing in our entryway. The next week, I saw it near the living room. A month later, it appeared in the kitchen. I started noticing a pattern. Whatever I was seeing seemed to be getting closer to our bedroom. I know how insane that sounds. Eric thought so too. Still, he wanted to help, so he bought cameras. A lot of cameras. One at the front door, one in the living room, one in the kitchen, one in the hallway, and one outside our bedroom. I felt ridiculous while he installed them, like I was indulging a childhood fear. For the first few weeks, everything was normal. Then, the front door camera failed. Just stopped recording. The company replaced it. 2 days later, it failed again. Then, the living room camera started glitching. Frozen images, corrupted footage, random black screens. The kitchen camera followed. Then the hallway. Each malfunction happened in the exact order I'd been seeing the silhouette moving through the house. Entryway, living room, kitchen, hallway, closer and closer to our room. Eric couldn't explain it. Neither could the technicians. Every camera that failed had supposedly passed diagnostic tests. Eventually, even Eric admitted it was strange. That was 6 months ago. The sightings became more frequent after that. Not every day, but enough. Enough that I stopped sleeping well. Enough that I started leaving lights on. Enough that I began checking corners before entering rooms. Then Eric got a work assignment. 3 days out of state. Normally, it wouldn't have bothered me, except his father had just been released from the hospital. My father-in-law, Frank. Frank had suffered a minor stroke. He was physically okay, but he started having memory problems. Doctors weren't sure if it was temporary. Early dementia was also a possibility. Eric asked if I could stay home with him while he traveled, and of course I agreed. The first day was uneventful. The second day was too. I actually started feeling embarrassed about the whole thing. Maybe everyone was right. Maybe I'd built this monster in my head over years of anxiety. Then came the third night. Frank had gone to bed around 9. I stayed awake watching television. Around midnight, I heard footsteps upstairs. Slow footsteps. Heavy footsteps. I figured Frank had gotten up. Maybe he needed water. Maybe he was confused. So I got up to go check on him. As I reached the staircase, I saw a movement at the end of the hallway. Something tall, standing there, watching me. My stomach dropped. The silhouette, the same one, the exact same shape. Long limbs, large head, too tall. It stood outside Frank's guest room. Then it turned and slipped through the doorway. I froze. Every instinct in me told me to run. Instead, I forced myself upstairs, one step at a time. Heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. I reached the guest room. The door was slightly open. I pushed it wider. Frank was asleep in bed, alone. No one else in the room. I checked the closet, under the bed, the bathroom, nothing. Just like always. I leaned against the wall and laughed, actually laughed. Not because anything was funny, but because I finally understood. I was losing it. The cameras, the sightings, the shadows, all of it. My brain was creating patterns that didn't exist. I felt relieved, honestly relieved. I walked over to make sure Frank was okay. That's when his eyes opened, and he looked directly at me. For a moment, he seemed unusually alert, like the confusion he'd been dealing with had disappeared. Then he asked me a question. A simple question, but one I'll never forget. He said, "Where did the tall men go?" I remember every word perfectly. Not the tall man, men, plural. I felt every hair on my body stand up. I asked him what he meant. Frank looked towards the corner of the room, the darkest corner, the one behind me. Then he frowned, like he was confused. "They were standing right there." I couldn't move. "They were watching you." His voice sounded completely serious, completely lucid. Then he blinked, and just like that, the moment was gone. The confusion returned. He looked around the room and asked why I was standing there, as if the conversation had never happened. I left the room. I didn't look behind me. I didn't check the corner. I didn't want to know. The next morning, Eric came home, and I told him everything. He tried to explain it away. Dementia, confusion, dreaming, maybe. But there's one detail I never told him. That night, before I left Frank's room, I noticed something. The camera outside our bedroom had finally stopped working. The last one. The only camera in the house that hadn't malfunctioned yet. And according to the timestamp, it died 3 minutes before I heard the footsteps upstairs. I've never seen the silhouette again. At least, not clearly. Sometimes I catch movement in the corner of my eye. Sometimes I think I see something standing in the doorway, but maybe that's just paranoia. Maybe that's all it's ever been. Still, every once in a while, I remember Frank asking that question. Not where did he go, not where did it go, but where did the tall men go? And what scares me most is the possibility that I was never seeing the same figure over and over. Maybe there was more than one the entire time.
Okay, so that was terrifying. But it also reminds me of a previous caller's story, and I can't help but wonder if they're possibly connected. If you happen to have your own terrifying tale that you would love to share, please feel free to reach out. Just don't be surprised if something answers back. My name is Sam. I was your host for this evening, and this was Static After Dark. All right. See you guys later. Bye.